Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're offering, well, maybe a shortcut, a powerful way to think about personal change anyway. It kind of flips the script on how we usually chase success.
Yeah, we're tackling that counterintuitive idea that the biggest results, they often come from the smallest changes, almost invisible ones.
Exactly. We're doing a deep dive into the system known as atomic habits.
I love that name, atomic. It works on two levels, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, atomic, like the smallest possible unit, the basic building block. But also, historically, atomic means this source of, immense untapped energy.
Ah, okay. So tiny but powerful.
Precisely. And our mission today is really to show you how to tap into that energy right now for sustained real improvement over the long haul.
And the person who really popularized this, James Clear, he didn't start out as some guru. He started literally from ground zero. His story is, wow.
It really is. Hit square in the face with a baseball bat during a game.
Yeah, ended up in a coma, facial fractures, serious memory loss. Like he couldn't even remember the correct year or the president. Just catastrophic.
Uh-huh. The recovery was brutal. And getting back into baseball, agonizingly slow. Cut from varsity.
Only played 11 innings his senior year. It's hard to imagine.
But then, just 6 years later, he's named the top male athlete at his university, Denison University.
That leap from total physical wreck to top athlete, it really shows he must have relied entirely on a system, right? Small, repeatable steps.
Absolutely. It all came down to this one simple phrase, the aggregation of marginal gains.
Okay, aggregation of marginal gains. What does that actually mean in practice?
It's basically a philosophy. You're constantly, consciously looking for tiny improvements, maybe just 1% in, well, everything you do.
Just 1% seems small.
It seems small, but the math is staggering. Get 1% better each day for a year, and you do just end up 365% better. Because of compounding, you end up 37 times better.
37 times. Okay, that's huge. That's compounding applied to your habits.
Ex-
Right, when we talk compounding, the go-to example, the most famous one, has got to be British cycling. Before they used this, well, they weren't great.
Not great is putting it mildly. They were a global punchline. Nearly 100 years of mediocrity before 2003. Zero Tour de France wins in 110 years.
Wow.
One single Olympic gold medal in their entire history up to that point. It got so bad, European bike makers literally refused to sell them bikes.
Refused. Why?
Feared it would damage their brand reputation. That's how bad British cycling was perceived.
Okay, that's a low point. So 2003, Dave Brailsford comes in as performance director. What's the magic bullet?
No magic bullet, just marginal gains. He brought in that strategy. They looked at the obvious stuff first. Better bike seats, rider nutrition, training regimens.
The usual suspects.
Right. But then they went micro, testing fabrics in wind tunnels for aerodynamics, getting riders electrically heated overshorts for optimal muscle temp.
Heated shorts. Seriously?
Seriously. Even figuring out the best massage gel for faster recovery.
Yeah.
Tiny, tiny details, looking for that 1% edge everywhere.
And the results.
Utterly dominant. It wasn't gradual. Within 5 years, Beijing Olympics 2008, they won 60% of the gold medals available in track and road cycling.
60%.
And it just snowballed. Between 2007 and 2017, get this, 178 world championships, 66 Olympic or Paralympic golds, 5 Tour de France wins in 6 years.
Incredible. Just from looking for 1% everywhere.
Turned them into arguably the most successful team in cycling history.
It's a perfect illustration, isn't it, that our outcomes are really just a lagging measure of our habits.
Your net worth lags your financial habits. Your weight lags your eating habits. Your knowledge lags your learning habits. You really do get what you repeat.
That's the upside of compounding.
That's the beautiful part. But there's a dark side, or maybe just a tricky side. Progress isn't linear. That 1% improvement, often you don't see it for weeks, maybe months.
And that delay, that's where people give up.
Exactly. It leads to what James Clear calls the valley of disappointment. You expect steady progress like a straight line upwards.
But reality isn't like that.
Nope. Think about an ice cube. It's sitting in a room at, say, 25 degrees Fahrenheit. You start warming the room. 26, 27, 28, 31 degrees.
Nothing happens. Ice is still ice.
Right. You put in the work, the energy, but the result, the visible change, is zero. Then you hit 32 degrees.
And boom, it melts.
The whole thing melts.
Yeah.
That 1 degree shift, which felt exactly like the previous shifts, unlocked this massive transformation.
So the mistake is quitting when you're stuck at 31 degrees thinking nothing's happening.
Precisely. You're building up potential energy on what's called the plateau of latent potential. The work is accumulating, but the results are delayed. Quit too soon, and you miss the breakthrough.
Okay, so that nonlinear progress, that plateau,
Mhm.
it really highlights why just focusing on goals can be a problem.
Definitely. A goals-first approach ties your happiness to some future event. You're basically always delaying feeling good until you hit the next milestone.
And it sets up this stressful either-or thing, right? Either I hit the goal and I'm a success, or I miss it and I'm a failure.
Exactly. The whole system feels high stakes, fragile even.
But hang on, if goals alone aren't the answer, why isn't just having a good system enough? Why bring identity into it? Why is that the crucial layer?
Because the most powerful, most lasting change happens when a habit becomes part of who you are, not just what you do. We need to shift the focus away from outcomes, what you want to get, towards identity, who you wish to become.
So less I want to write a book and more.
I am a writer.
Right.
That shift from wanting to being is fundamental.
Right. There's a great story illustrating this, isn't there? Brian Clark and his fingernail.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic example. He chewed his nails for years.
Yeah.
Tried everything, willpower, you name it. Nothing worked long term.
Until
Until he got his first professional manicure. Just once.
okay. Why did that work? Was it the money he spent?
He thought maybe it was the money, didn't want to waste it. But no, that wasn't it. It was seeing his nails look nice, healthy. He suddenly felt pride in them.
Ah, the pride.
That pride instantly shifted his internal identity about self-care. He now saw himself as someone with nice nails, and the habit of not chewing them, it stuck immediately, effortlessly, because he was protecting this new part of his identity.
Wow. The moment the habit reflected his identity, the struggle vanished.
Exactly. And we have to watch out for the negative side, too. If you constantly tell yourself negative stories, I'm bad with directions, I'm just not a morning person, I'm terrible at math,
You start to believe it.
you internalize those labels, and then subconsciously you feel pressure to act consistently with that negative self-image. You'll actually resist things that challenge that old limiting identity.
Okay, so identity is the bedrock. But we all know willpower is, well, flaky. It runs out. How do we make good habits the default, almost effortless? What's the trick?
The trick is to stop relying on willpower and start designing your environment. It comes down to a basic principle, the law of least effort.
Law of least effort. Sounds appealing.
We're fundamentally wired to choose the option that requires the least work, the least friction. So our actions are powerfully shaped by whatever is most obvious or easiest in our immediate surroundings.
So change the environment, not necessarily the person's motivation.
Precisely. Anne Thorndike's study in that Boston hospital cafeteria is a perfect example. They wanted staff to eat healthier.
Did they give lectures, put up posters?
Nope. Zero motivational talk. All they did was change the choice architecture. Before, only soda was right by the cash registers. They kept the soda there, but they also added water to every drink station and put baskets of bottled water right next to the food.
Made water more visible, more convenient?
Exactly. And over 3 months, bottled water sales jumped almost 26%. Soda sales dropped over 11%, just by making the good choice the easy, obvious choice.
That's amazing. And you see this principle everywhere, right? Like homes with visible electric meters.
Meters in the main hallway. People use less electricity because their consumption was obvious, easy to track. It wasn't hidden away.
Or that famous fly sticker in the urinals at Schiphol Airport.
Classic. A tiny sticker that looks like a fly, placed near the drain, gives people something to aim at. Seems trivial, right?
Yeah.
It cut cleaning costs by 8%. A tiny visual cue, making the desired behavior obvious, created a measurable change.
Okay, so make the good cues obvious. What about the least effort part? How do we reduce the friction for good habits?
You prime the environment for your future self. Think about Oswald Knuckles, the IT developer. He had this great strategy called resetting the room.
Resetting the room.
Yeah, when he finished watching TV, he didn't just toss the remote. He'd fold a blanket, tidy the coffee table, put the remote back in its specific spot.
So just tidying up.
It was more than tidying. He was setting the stage for the next action, making it frictionless for his future self to walk into a calm, organized space and maybe start work or read rather than sinking back into the couch.
Reducing the effort needed for the next good choice. I like that. So if self-control is weak, the flip side is making bad habits harder, right? Introducing friction.
Exactly. Self-control is a short-term fix, often fails under stress. Friction is the long-term play. You want to drink less beer. Don't just leave it front and center in the fridge. Hide it in the back behind the vegetables.
Make it inconvenient.
Yes. Want to watch less TV, unplug it after use, maybe even take the batteries out of the remote Seems extreme, but that little bit of hassle,
Creates just enough friction to make you pause and think, do I really want to bother?
precisely. Or the phone. So distracting. Try leaving it in another room until lunchtime. That physical distance, that friction, can easily buy you hours of focused work in the morning.
Okay, environment and friction handle the physical setup. But what about the engine driving it all? Desire. Why are some habits just so sticky, addictive almost?
Biology. It's all about the dopamine loop. And here's the key insight most people miss. Dopamine isn't just about the pleasure after you get the reward. It's released in anticipation of the reward.
Ah, so it's the craving, the wanting.
Exactly. The dopamine spikes when your brain recognizes the cue that predicts a reward. That creates the intense craving or wanting that drives you to act. Think junk food, gambling, social media notifications. They hijack this wanting circuit.
Okay, so we need to harness that wanting loop for good habits.
Yeah.
That's where temptation bundling comes in.
Yes, it's a brilliant strategy. You link an action you want to do with an action you need to do.
Like the engineering student Ronan Byrne.
Perfect example. He loved watching Netflix, but knew he needed to exercise more. So he literally hacked his stationary bike to talk to his computer.
Oh.
Netflix would only play if he was cycling above a certain minimum speed.
Huh.
He bundled the want Netflix with the need exercise.
Clever. Or using Premax principle, right? Using something you enjoy to reinforce something you dread.
Mm-hmm. Like, you only allow yourself to get that relaxing pedicure while you're tackling that pile of overdue work emails you've been avoiding. The desirable activity pulls the necessary one along.
Makes sense. Now, connecting this to the bigger picture, we don't form habits in a vacuum, do we?
Not at all. We're fundamentally social creatures, herd animals, you might say. That desire to belong, to fit in with the tribe, it's one of the deepest human drivers.
So habits become attractive if they help us fit in.
Absolutely. We imitate the behaviors of the groups we belong to, often without even realizing it. You pick up your friend's mannerisms, your roommate's way of talking.
You start using the same slang or gestures.
Right. It's a largely unconscious mimicry. So one of the most powerful things you can do is deliberately join a culture where your desired behavior is the normal behavior.
Surround yourself with people already doing what you want to do.
Exactly. Want to get fit. Join a gym where people are serious, or a running club. Want to build something cool. Look at Mike Massimino, the astronaut. He said when he was at MIT, 4 out of 10 students in his small robotics class also became astronauts.
Wow, when that's the norm.
It feels achievable. The social environment pulls you along. Find your tribe.
Okay, so we've got identity, environment, desire, social forces. We know how to start strong. But what about sticking with it? Long term, what trips people up after the initial motivation fades?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The single biggest threat to long-term success isn't usually failure. It's boredom.
Boredom.
Yeah. Once a habit becomes automatic, routine, it stops being exciting and becomes, well, boring. The novelty wears off. And that's where the real difference between amateurs and professionals shows up.
How so?
Professionals stick to the schedule, even on the days they don't feel like it. They embrace the boredom because they're focused on the process. Amateurs, they tend to let life or their mood get in the way. They only do it when they feel inspired.
Inspiration is fleeting, discipline endures. So if boredom is the enemy of consistency, how do we fight it? How do we stay engaged?
You need to operate within what's called the Goldilocks rule.
Goldilocks, like the porridge.
Exactly. Tasks need to be just right in terms of difficulty. Not too hard, because that leads to frustration and anxiety. Not too easy, because that leads to boredom and complacency.
You need to be challenged but not overwhelmed, right on the edge of your current ability.
Precisely. That's the zone of peak motivation. Think about Steve Martin's comedy career.
Right, he wasn't an overnight sensation.
Far from it. 18 years in the making. He spent 10 years just learning, 4 years refining his act, and only then came the massive success. And crucially, he didn't just do the same jokes over and over.
What did he do?
He kept expanding his routine, but gradually, maybe adding just a minute or two of new material each year, enough to challenge himself, to push the boundary. But he always kept some guaranteed laugh lines in there too.
Ah, so enough success to stay motivated, enough challenge to stay engaged.
That's the Goldilocks zone. He managed the difficulty perfectly.
Okay, one last piece. Our brains love instant gratification, right? But habits like saving money or getting healthy have delayed rewards. How do we bridge that gap?
We need to find ways to make the process immediately satisfying. We need immediate reinforcement, even for long-term goals. This is where habit tracking comes in.
Like the paperclip strategy.
Yes, Trent Dearsmid, the stockbroker, started his career, made a goal, he got 2 jars, put 120 paper clips in one. After every single sales call he made, win or lose, he moved 1 paper clip from the full jar to the empty jar.
So he wasn't focused on closing the deal.
His immediate focus was just moving the paper clip. That visual progress, that small, satisfying action right after the effort, that was the immediate reward.
It made the process tangible, obvious, satisfying.
Exactly. And the result? Within 18 months, he was bringing in $5 million for his firm. That simple paperclip system kept him relentlessly consistent.
And habit tracking apps, or Jerry Seinfeld's don't break the chain method for writing jokes, they do the same thing.
They serve the exact same psychological purpose. They make the progress visible, create a little dopamine hit for completing the task, and give you an immediate sense of accomplishment, bridging the gap until the long-term reward kicks in. Hashtag OutTrack Outro.
So wrapping this deep dive up, if we boil down this whole atomic habit system, it really comes down to, what, 4 key ideas?
I think so. First, understand and leverage compounding. Get 1% better, but be patient through that valley of disappointment.
Right. Second, prioritize identity. Focus on becoming the type of person who achieves those goals. Don't just chase the outcome itself.
Third, master friction and environment design. Make your good habits obvious, easy, and satisfying. Make the bad habits invisible, difficult, and unsatisfying. Law of least effort.
Got it. And fourth, stay engaged with the Goldilocks rule. Keep tasks challenging enough to be interesting, but not so hard you give up. Fight the boredom.
That's a great summary. And maybe there's one deeper layer connecting all of this.
No, go on.
The sources really emphasize that our behavior isn't just reactive, it's fundamentally predictive. Your brain is constantly making tiny predictions about what will happen next, based on past experiences and current cues.
Predicting the outcome before we even act.
Yeah. And crucially, the brain's primary mode isn't thinking, it's feeling. We are emotional creatures first, rational creatures second. Those predictions generate an immediate feeling, a gut reaction.
So our feelings drive our actions based on these automatic predictions.
Right. Think about Ed Latimore, the boxer and writer. He found he could instantly get into a state of focus just by putting on his noise-canceling headphones before writing, sometimes without even playing music.
Just the act of putting them on.
The physical act became a cue. His brain learned to predict. Headphones on equals focus time. That prediction triggered the feeling of focus before he even started. He designed a pre-game ritual.
Okay, that's fascinating. So the final thought for everyone listening, if your brain is automatically predicting how you'll feel based on the setup,
How can you consciously redesign your own pre-game ritual? That tiny moment before you start the hard work, whatever it is. How can you set the stage so your mind automatically predicts a positive feeling, a sense of focus or competence, making the craving to start almost automatic?
something to definitely think about. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.
For more heartfelt videos like this, remember to like and subscribe. It's a small way to say, keep going, and it helps this channel continue sharing messages that heal, inspire, and remind us who we are.